Kevin Lankinen signed in Vancouver. Now, if you're not familiar with Kevin Lankinen, a pretty solid little goaltender with the Nashville Predators.
Indeed.
Behind UC Saros, who soaked up a lot of the oxygen there, and rightfully so. So here's the interesting thing. Lankinen's there because their other guy is Dylan Ferguson. Shelovs is not totally healthy, and Demko is not healthy. And what's interesting is, I got a quote here. He didn't make a lot of progress throughout the summer.
This is Demko?
Yeah.
I feel like I hear a different thing every day.
I do too, because I was looking for some stuff. Jesse,
yeah,
you know something on this that I could not find.
Yeah, so I watched all so he spoke to the media.
Yes,
it was really awkward because Patrick Allvin didn't really want to say anything before Demko could say anything. So like all week they're just throwing around the ball and nobody's saying anything about Demko. And finally he comes out. I think it was Thursday or Friday morning. I'm pretty sure. He talks to the media and he says that what he has is it's not a knee issue. It's a muscle issue. And the muscle issue hasn't been found in any hockey players. He was saying that his doctors haven't found this in any other hockey players. And the muscle injury, they've only found it in 5 soccer players.
Wow.
So what injury is it?
So he didn't specify what's going on with the muscle.
It's the itis.
But it's something with the muscle and some sort of muscle injury that hockey players don't get.
But he didn't say the muscle.
He didn't say the exact injury. He didn't elaborate that.
It's musculitis, obviously.
I can read some of the quotes he had.
You never had musculitis?
Oh, I have. I have body-itis. Bone-itis.
Go ahead.
Yeah. The exact quote Demko gave is, "We haven't found a single hockey player," Demko said, "of the injury. We found maybe less than 5 soccer guys. It's just not too concrete. It's been a little bit of a frustrating summer just to get some answers. Obviously, we've talked to all the specialists that we can around the world, in North America and even overseas. And this is the information that we've kind of gathered. Myself and the staff and the organization are fully confident that we're on the right track. I did hit a bit of a wall in the summer as far as the recovery went, and we did see a little bit of a lack of progress there for a couple of months. And obviously, that's why I'm in this situation that I'm in right now. But I would say, in the last probably 2 to 3 weeks, we've seen a ton of progress. We're very confident in where I am right now and happy with that." And he can't really give an answer on when he's going to be back. Had you asked me a month ago, I really wouldn't have been able to tell you. I would say that we are on a great trajectory right now. This is the most confident that I've been in the rehab process up to the date. Hopefully just keep progressing week to week. I'm not going to sit here and give you a timeline. But yeah, like I said, I feel real confident in where we're headed. And hopefully I'll be 100% sooner rather than later.
So you know how they make us decide what we're going to do with our lives like way too early?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I, for a while, thought I was going to do with the rest of my life. I was going to go to school for stuff like that. The human body is fascinating to me.
You thought you were going to be a doctor?
No, like kinesiology or something like that, like physio rehab, stuff like that. It's just, there's a muscle injury they've never found in a hockey. You know how many hockey players there's been?
Yeah.
And 5 soccer players? You know how many soccer players there's been?
That doesn't mean it hasn't happened. It just means they haven't reported it.
Well, they haven't, like,
they're hockey players.
I was like, recently something hurt. I was talking to my trainer about it, and he's like, "Well, here's your leg." And he was showing me all the muscles like on your quad or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then he shows me a different picture of your quad, and the picture is all the muscles are different. And I'm like, what is this you're showing me? He's like, "Oh, this is the second layer."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Layer?"
Yeah.
Like, sometimes if you get hurt 2 or 3, if you injure a muscle 2 or 3 layers deep, how do they even find that out? How do they even know?
Yep.
All that stuff is so fascinating to me. But it's not my muscle that's screwed up, it's his. And I do share a frustration in trying to get better and you stagnate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this must have been an extraordinarily frustrating summer for Demko, because you're putting all this effort into rehabbing and you're getting nothing out of your hard work.
If you remember, back in the playoffs, they said Demko would be ready if the Vancouver Canucks advanced far enough in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That was the word from
Injured
management.
in game 1, he'll be ready for game 7.
If they can make it to the Stanley Cup final, like he'll be there if they make it through Edmonton and all this stuff. And since then, he's still not healthy. So that's how tricky this muscle injury has been. And during the offseason, Demko also revealed that he had another surgery that was preventative, but he's recovered from that since. It was like a 2-week recovery and all that's fine. So that's nothing to worry about. But he did have another surgery, and this thing's just lingering, and week to week they'll evaluate.
Jeez.
Yeah. Wow.
I want to go back and do our Vancouver preview again. Our season previews are coming out on the SDP on YouTube channel. If you aren't aware, they started releasing yesterday. The Vancouver one's up already.
Yeah.
At this, if Demko isn't healthy, like if say next week because he's week to week, they come out and they're like, okay, it's actually a bigger setback and Demko's not available for most of the season. That changes this team entirely.
It does. The regular season's very long. How long is it, boys and girls? That's right. But like, I think they could get by for quite some time with like Lankinen and Seelovs.
Yes, but there's a difference between getting by and predicting them to win the division.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Like predictions.
By the way,
stupid idiot did that.
I'm looking at the comments section and literally the video went up and everybody's like, never fails. Kevin Lankinen signs with the Canucks right after this goes up.
Yeah,
totally.
And it was beautiful.
100%.
That's the nature of it.
I do want to say though, I wanted to talk a little bit about Kevin Lankinen because I think I'm surprised this goalie went this far without a contract. And he had 2 years in Nashville, one where he played 19, another where he played 24, 916 and a 908 save percentage. Mm-hmm. That's fine. That's really good. Especially if that guy, if he can give you a 910, right in the middle, for the first 2 months and then let Demko figure it out.
I think it was Elliot Friedman made it sound like it was a lot more Lankinen's choice rather than he couldn't get a job. Like something happened a couple years ago where I was like, this kind of sucks for this player. Aaron Dell wanted a contract with the Leafs. So he signed a contract with the Leafs. And before he plays a game with the Leafs, he gets waived, which was not a surprise. And guess what? Now you're no longer a Leaf.
Yeah, because you're going somewhere else.
You just signed a contract to play with that team. You move there. Hopefully you didn't unpack. So now you're not there. This is a reality for goalies, right? Mm-hmm. Kevin Lankinen is interesting because he knows he's a good enough goalie that teams are going to want his services. But right now he's going to a team that's not going to waive him.
Right.
Like guaranteed not going to waive him.
That's true. That's true.
So he knows I can sign in Vancouver and I know I'm going to stick there for a little bit. Hayden, you got something to say?
Yeah, just you guys mentioned Martin Jones earlier. I'm surprised they went with Lankinen instead of Martin Jones. Like he's still there.
I think Lankinen's numbers are way better and he's younger. Lankinen's 29 and has worked his way up. He had one good year with Chicago and then the next year was bad, but Chicago were so bad.
Jones was bad for a long time that it was almost shocking that he was still in it. He's duct tape. He's like he can get it done until the professional arrives. And that's basically what he did with the Leafs last year. And I suppose that's what Lankinen is being taxed with, but he's a little bit better than duct tape. Like this time last year, if you were to ask your average fan, who's a better goalie, Kevin Lankinen or Archer Seelovs, who no one had seen, right? You would have said Kevin Lankinen. Then Seelovs, steals a bunch of games in the playoffs and holy crap. This is why I said I think the Canucks can survive and maybe even thrive with Lankinen and Seelovs, but
there's no
once a playoff
on goalies find magic in the playoffs. Remember Akira Schmid?
Anton Hudobin.
Yeah, where's Akira Schmid now?
He's the third goalie in Vegas.
I think you're probably right. Vegas. Yeah, third goalie in Vegas. And he was magic. Lights out for the Devils the last time they were in the playoffs.
Magic got a big contract and was immediately not worth it.
Now, I think Archer Seelovs has real potential, but he was very mediocre in the regular season last year. He was 5-5, and that's why Canucks fans, when he went down, they were like, oh, this isn't great. This is not super. He had an .881 save percentage in 4 games.
Demko at his best is top 5?
Vezina nominee.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so I understand how that's a bit of a pickle.
But then in the playoffs, so much better. Although still didn't have he did not have a higher than 900 save percentage. It was an 898, but he was great.
Who was this?
Seelovs.
Oh, Seelovs.
So Lankinen, to me, Seelovs can go down. Lankinen could be your backup. You still got time to find out what you got. And I like this. I like this signing for them a lot. And I like it for Lankinen because he feels to me a little bit like an Anthony Stolarz, where Anthony Stolarz signed here because he knew there was a real opportunity to define himself finally.
Lankinen, he's got a real opportunity, yeah.
I think so. Because remember, Stolarz was behind John Gibson in Anaheim, and then behind Bobrovsky, and then took Knight's position away in Florida.
Yes.
And
Yes.
now he's coming to Toronto with an unproven Joseph Woll, who we're all high on. We all think he's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a real opportunity. Lankinen's got it too, and it's coming later in his career. Guy's undrafted. It's a good story.
Goaltending's so weird. Like I think I've said this a few times, but when Hudobin was dragging the Dallas Stars to the Stanley Cup final in 2020, I want to say he was like 35 or something when he was doing it. I was like, how come this guy was never really a starter in the NHL? And I went back and looked at his career, and there were very few times where you could go back and be like, yeah, he was pretty bad. He was pretty bad. Then he was okay. He just kept playing behind better goalies.
Yes.
Like or proven starters, right? Like, I'm going to sign here. And who's this Ducaras guy? And like, and it just kept happening that way for him. And sometimes you just need an opportunity, and it takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Bauer was like in his 30s when he became an NHL regular.
Man, what a great opportunity for him too.